Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network and Bet Online. We're your hosts, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th in December. It kind of feels weird, man. It kind of feels like the nightmare before Christmas.
I know, it's weird. December 13th on a Friday in December.
Yeah, and ironically, we thought it was going to be an extremely bad nightmare, as obviously during this last stretch since we last recorded, Franz Wagner goes down with an injury and breaks all of Orlando's heart. So we're going to be talking about that in today's episode. Also, NBA trade deadline is right around the corner. Rumors are starting to spin. Not really right around the corner, but now is when we start to see a lot of these names come out of the woodworks, and the Magic have been associated with some names already. And then Paolo Banchero, man, is he coming close to returning? We're going to talk all about that. But first, just a quick word from our sponsor, Bet Online. Bet Online continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From their earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the game as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC, head to BetOnline today, and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Also, it's that time of year again. Our guy Brandon Kravitz from 96.9 The Game is partnering with Hourglass Brewing in downtown Orlando for an epic holiday celebration. He's doing the re-release of Zone Heads 35, the one with that classic Magic pinstripe look. It's a delicious IPA beer that enthusiasts and Magic fans alike will absolutely love. Head to Hourglass Brewing on Curry Ford Road Friday, December 20th. For the official release and hang out with Brandon Kravitz and the crew starting at 6 p.m. Also, all new episodes of Zone Heads podcast with Brandon and his new co-host, Zach. They're available wherever you download your favorite podcasts, and catch BK live on In the Zone weekdays on 96.9 The Game starting at 3:30 p.m. So, Al, with the holiday season right around the corner, what better way to kick it off than with a giveaway? So we normally do it after every City Edition drop off. We didn't get a chance to do it this year. So I'll break down what our holiday season giveaway is going to look like.
Yeah, man, you said it best. So it is the month of December, right around Christmas time. So we want to make sure that all of you guys got a chance to win a brand new Orlando Magic City Edition jersey. So our giveaway is pretty simple. You got to go to either Instagram, X, find our giveaway post. It's going to be sticky to our account. So just find the post, and all you have to do is reply subscribed. So we're asking you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once you do that, simply reply to that post saying that you are subscribed, and we will choose a winner on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. We'll announce the winner around noontime that day. So again, subscribe to YouTube, reply to the post that you have been subscribed to our channel, and then we'll choose a winner on December 24th. You'll get the chance to choose any jersey that you want as far as customization-wise. You can choose an existing player, Paolo, Franz, Suggs, or your own name if you want it in there. So it is all up to you. I'll go physically myself, get it made at the team store, and ship it out to you. So best of luck to everyone. And I will say also, if you do subscribe to our Patreon program, your name will be entered twice. So again, you'll find the link to Patreon on the post. All you have to do is click on that, subscribe to our Patreon program if you want a better chance at winning.
Yeah, man, the City Edition, obviously we talked about it early on. They're so clean, man. In my opinion, we've already worn them a couple times. Seeing them live in action, they look so much better than they did last year. So definitely an amazing giveaway. Make sure you participate because those look mad fresh. So good luck to whoever wins. Now, Al, we played a few games. We lose against the 76ers, who this time around they had Paul George, and we lost 102-94 to them, and then we end up taking down Phoenix. Jalen Suggs goes off for 26 points. Goga 21-16. Cole Anthony, played really, really good. Magic, obviously they get into some issues where you're without your leading player in Paolo Banchero. Now you're also out with, Franz Wagner, who's out with a crazy oblique injury. You have your star player that goes out with the exact same injury, and then Franz Wagner also with that same injury. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. What were your initial reactions when you heard that Franz is now going to miss more or less the same amount of time that Paolo Banchero missed, when we were so close in finally getting Paolo Banchero back?
Dude, so let me give you the breakdown. So we lose that game, of course. It is what it is. We knew it was going to be a tough game and a tough team to beat in Philly at home, back-to-back games. But that Saturday, I'm home, I'm relaxing, I'm watching TV with the wife, and my phone just keeps blowing up. I'm like, I'll put it away. I'm not going to pay attention to it. It keeps vibrating. I'm like, let me just see what's going on. And of course, there's a Shams tweet announcing that Franz has been injured with the same exact injury that Paolo is out currently with. So at first, disbelief, man. I couldn't believe that. What are the odds, right? Like, it's not a knee, it's not an ankle, it's not a back injury. That's usually what basketball players suffer from. But I will say, we did see Franz land kind of awkwardly during that Philly game when he went for that layup. We saw him kind of hold his side a little bit. So I was worried in the moment, but maybe now I'm like, he just plays through it. But man, it's unfortunate because we were playing so well. He was still having an all-star season, potentially an all-NBA season. Now, depending how many games he misses, he may not qualify for the all-NBA or any NBA awards, which that would suck. Hopefully that's not the case, that he misses that many games. But it sucks, man. It sucks for us as a team. We were finally clicking. We were winning a ton of games. We talked about it at length on the last episode. Franz has been unbelievable this season. He's done an amazing job. And to see him go down, it's unfortunate, man. So my initial reactions were, we got to find a way to survive this stretch because it's a tough schedule in December, like we talked about last week. And we got to get as many wins as possible until Paolo gets back.
Yeah, just doing some quick little research online. So obviously Paolo, Franz, two players that are on the same team. Obviously the only players this season to have that injury. But also the last player before them to have that same injury was ironically Cole Anthony back in 2022 for the Magic. So the odds of all this happening makes you question certain things. I'm not going to say that out in the air. I'm not going to express that feeling just yet, but it is concerning that that has occurred, right? But regardless, Magic still have a really good showing against the Suns. You got players like Goga that definitely stepped up. But yeah, man, when I first heard the news, it was on a random, felt like a random afternoon, early afternoon. And the minute that we saw that tweet, it was kind of like, we texted each other like, man, what? How? And then we see the video, and then, okay, we saw it on the play, and obviously that it made more sense. But, man, it's unfortunate, especially for a team that, was still surviving, and not just surviving. They were thriving without Paolo when nobody thought that was possible. And, man, watching Jalen and Goga and the rest of the guys kind of fight through it felt so good because, Phoenix, they still, like, they were without KD, but, still a decent team. You still got Bradley Beal. You still got Devin Booker. Like, this is a team that can still hurt you offensively. In the Magic, they stood their ground, man. And, they played a proud basketball. Like, you look at them and you're like, holy smokes, like they were really able to get it done. And then fighting against Milwaukee in a game that, would advance you in the NBA Cup to get you to Vegas. And for a minute there, it really looked like the Magic were going to run away with it in Milwaukee, right? And you and I, we kind of debated a little bit, or we disagreed on how that game ended. But regardless, before we even get to that, the Magic, they did a good job kind of containing and sustaining their level of play against Damian Lillard, against Chris Middleton, against Giannis. Like these are heavy hitters, man, and the Magic did it without Paolo, without Franz, without Jonathan Isaac, and they still were able to compete and give Milwaukee a run for their money. But now that we're getting to that point, I do want us to discuss a little bit. Jalen Suggs went absolutely ballistic in that fourth quarter of that Milwaukee game, and Jalen made some questionable decisions, right? He had two opportunities to kind of put the Magic ahead and missed both opportunities. With still some time left on the clock, he ends up putting a shot up, missing it, and then he had another opportunity at the end where it was kind of a catch and quick release shot and also missed it. What were your thoughts on how Jalen Suggs kind of ended that game for us?
I mean, first things first, this kid scored 32 points in the game, a new career high. 20 points came in the fourth quarter. So you got to give him credit, man. Like, whatever shot he took, it is what it is. He has the right to. He has a hot hand. I get it. Where my questionable decision came about that we disagreed was we're down two. We're bringing the ball up with about 30 seconds in the game. We just ISO'd Suggs against Lillard. Dribble, step back, shot. He missed it. My question there is, what got us to that point of the game to be close and actually almost winning that game was teamwork, was setting a pick for Jalen Suggs, coming up that pick and shooting a three, running plays, involving the team. I just didn't agree with the fact that it was an ISO play. We wasted quite a bit of clock just dribbling to then settle for a contested three-point shot. I wished us down 30 seconds left, pick and roll with Goga, try to attack the basket. If it's not there, come off a curl, and then shoot a three-point shot at that point, or whatever else. I just felt like that was a very rushed shot. I think Steven said it best in a group chat. He's not really a, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, like those type of guys that can truly just say, give me the ball, ISO, I'm going to win you this game. Love Jalen. He hit some crazy shots. Again, career high. He had it going. That shot to me just was a little bit early. The second one, after the timeout, coming up a curl, that's a play the coach called. I understand why he took that shot. That's the way that the coach set it up. Go for it. So that's what I'm going to say about that, man. But outside of that, career high, 20 points in the fourth quarter, truly carried us in that game, man. Nothing negative to say about Jalen Suggs except that one shot. And then going back to Philly, don't forget that he also took a few questionable shots in that game when we're still in the game. We ended up losing by 8 points, but we were down, I think 3 or 2 at one point, and he took some crazy shots as well in that game. So he'll learn from this, but there's a tendency of when he has it going, he'll take some crazy shots because he's feeling it. He's got to work on that a little bit. That's all I'm going to say about that. But what were your thoughts about his shot against Lillard?
Yeah, so I'm the complete opposite. So I'm not saying that was a great shot. Like, I'm not saying that his first initial shot over Damian Lillard, I'm not saying that should have been our first option. My feeling on that shot was more of, I'm not mad at it, right? This dude just went off for you in the fourth quarter. He scored 20 points for you in the fourth quarter out of 32. He's obviously feeling it. You're in a game without Paulo. You're in a game without Franz. Like, who else are you really going to trust with the game on the line to hit that last shot for you? And what I love the most about that shot is two things. The first thing is the fact that he had the confidence to pull the trigger on Damian Lillard, right?
Yep.
Not saying that Dame is the defensive menace, but it's the fact that it's Dame Lillard. Like, it's Dame time. Like, he's the guy that would take that shot, right? But it's also the fact that he was able to get the shot off without his shot altering, or he was able to get his shot off. He got a good look at it. Not saying that was the best option, but I'm not mad at it under the circumstances. Like, if we're running that same play and you got Paulo on the wing and Franz on the wing too, and you take that shot, get his ass out the game. What are you doing? Scold him down. It's a different story at that point. But you don't have them. You're relying on the guy that without his level of play, we wouldn't be in that position. And I wasn't mad at him trying to put a bow on his game. And the fact that it was a fluid shot, the fact that he has a 2-inch advantage over Damian Lillard, I wasn't upset with that shot. The shot after that, I wasn't a fan of. Yeah, even if it was a draw out play, it was a quick catch, turnaround shoot. Like, he's not Ray Allen. Like the same things that you're saying about him on that first shot. It's even worse on the second shot because motion shots are so much more challenging. Like you really got to be in that rhythm, and that really needs to be something that you do on a consistent basis. Like Jalen Suggs' shot is not, catch, turn, pivot, and then shoot. Like he's not that in motion type of shooter. So I wasn't crazy with the second shot. The first shot I definitely liked more, but man, kudos to him. You can tell that he was really bummed out about it because his and who would, man, a competitor like him, any competitor, they'd be bummed out afterwards. He definitely had his head down, but the fact that we were in there fighting against Milwaukee. And another nationally televised game, like we had such a bad showing, what seems like the last handful of times, that it was good to at least be able to see him go out there and perform without your two lead guys.
And that's the biggest thing. I think we earned so much more respect from the TNT guys, people, all the writers that were watching the game and weren't commenting about Coach Mosley's coaching job with this team, Jalen Suggs in particular. I think it was Kenny Smith that said, Jalen Suggs will be an all-star next year. I'm like, wait, what are you saying here? So now all of a sudden we're going to have Paulo Franz, who already showed us he can be an all-star, and now Jalen Suggs is taking advantage of this opportunity without Paulo and Franz to elevate his game and show people, hey, I'm actually a star of my own here. So I think the beauty, and I said this in our group chat with the guys on Patreon, that's the beauty of all this, man. Like, it sucks at the moment not having Paulo, not having Franz. We're still winning games. We're still keeping up in the standings and in playoff position. But the beauty of all this is, man, that we are seeing guys that we knew that were good now elevate their games to be great. And now, again, you got guys like Franz getting recognition to be an all-star. Potentially, Jalen Suggs continues to play well, average 25, 27, 28 over the next few weeks. Now, people say, hey, wait, Jalen Suggs is an all-star type player. Heading into next year, man, we're going to have a big three of our own, a homegrown big three, locked in for the next 5 years. That's the beauty of all this. It sucks in the moment, the whole injury situation. But, man, big shout out to the Orlando Magic. I think Coach Mosley, we at times don't see eye to eye with some plays that he calls, some rotational moves. But, dude, you cannot disagree with the fact that this guy is one of the top 3, top 5 coaches in the NBA. To be doing what he's doing now against Phoenix, against Milwaukee, and I mean, he's going to have to continue it because we have a really, really tough schedule coming up. But to be doing what he's doing without Paulo and Franz at the moment, and for a while without Paulo, just Franz leading the way, it's impressive, man. Even, again, that Phoenix game was impressive. The crowd was crazy at the Kia Center. It's amazing. Again, even that Philly game that we lost, it came down to the last few minutes. So we're not getting blown out. We're not using the excuse of, hey, we don't have healthy players. Let's just go out there and get blown out. We don't care. No. These guys are going out there competing, fighting every single night. And that's a testament to what Coach Mosley's doing with those guys in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for a young team, like any adversity is going to be a teachable moment, an opportunity for us to get better. So Paulo goes out. You rely on Franz, and we're able to see Franz elevate. Right. And that doesn't happen without Paulo going down because, again, we've talked about it before, where in the beginning, it was really like the way that people were talking about Franz was like Franz is not on Paulo's level. There's a huge gap. And now there's an argument where, I'll slow down a little bit. That the gap may not be as big as people once assumed it was. Not saying that Franz is better than Paulo, and not saying that Franz is on the same level as Paulo, but the gap is a little closer than what it was before he went down. Now I feel like this is a opportunity for Jalen to kind of grow his confidence a little bit more because we saw his usage obviously was a lot lower when those two were in the game. And, that's definitely going to happen. But if he's able to find his confidence, even more so of kind of running the show as the point guard, and we've seen Coach Mo's kind of use him off ball as well, just to kind of give him a little more flexibility. But I think that this is just an opportunity for Jalen to kind of bring it up a little bit. And we've seen other people step up too. Anthony Black had a really, really good game. Goga Batadze, also another player that is getting more recognition. I think today by itself, I've seen at least 4 or 5 different memes from different social media platforms where they're highlighting the fact that when Goga Batadze, the infamous picture of him getting drafted, where all the reporters are on Zion and he's on a table next to him and there's nobody talking to him. He's kind of looking over there. It's kind of like hoping and wishing that was him. You look at their stat line and he's obviously performing more because, Zion is dealing with his injuries. So, you're happy for a player like Goga because he's starting to show that he's able to elevate his game more. And then also opportunity for Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony has been, adding more to the game than what he has done early on. So, the Magic are standing by this whole, by committee, everybody doing it together, and everyone is stepping up, and it's been really good to see.
Yeah, man, it's been really impressive. And to your point, man, I think AB had a really, really solid game against Milwaukee. We'll need him to keep that aggressiveness in the absence of Franz and Paolo. Like, we need guys to step up. And, I mean, it's different. Heading into a game now knowing that you're going to shoot, 10, 15 shots, it's very different than, being AB and going to a game knowing that you may shoot 3 to 5 shots in that game because Paolo and Franz are on the court. So I think mindset is a big deal here, too, for these guys. Jett Howard, by the way, too, he's been getting better and better. He's showing us, as he plays more and more minutes, better defensive play, more confidence on the offensive end. We're not seeing the rush shots as much. We're not seeing the kind of funky turnovers he was having early on in the season. So that's another development to keep watching. Can Jett Howard step up and become that off the bench scorer that we so badly need? So it's interesting, man. Goga, to your point, the guy has been incredible. Last year, this year, whenever we've needed him, he's been out there doing his best. And it's been scary because a couple of times he's rolled his ankle in the last couple of games. And I'm like, oh, my God, the last thing we need is Goga to be gone now also. But, man, he keeps fighting through it, and he's playing amazing basketball right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's felt like, or it is, the feeling is like just hold this thing together just a little bit longer until Paolo Banchero returns. And we feel like that's happening pretty soon. There's reports of there being more activity from Paolo Banchero. What are your thoughts? When do you believe that Paolo Banchero will be returning?
So the funny part is it's officially been, we're recording this on Thursday night. Tonight's been officially 6 weeks that he got injured. We were supposed to get a update from the Magic between 4 to 6 weeks. We haven't heard nothing. What I will say is the rest of the month, the Magic are in Orlando. They're not going back to the road, any road games until the new year. I keep looking at that game against OKC. They have not taken it off TNT just yet. That is next Thursday, so a week from today. All along, that's kind of where I've said that's a game that I think that Paolo will be back for. That's about 6 days before Christmas. He's targeting before Christmas. So hopefully that is the case. But it's hard to say, man, because we haven't heard nothing from the team. We know he's getting better. We know he's actively, doing things on the court now. But I would love, Jeff, somebody from the Magic front office to say, hey, we ran some tests. He's doing better. We'll evaluate in a certain number of days. Or he's not even close. We're looking at January. Give us something. But then again, it's the Magic front office. They don't give us much.
No, it wouldn't be fun that way. It wouldn't be fun to keep us updated. No, and listen, I think that obviously the Magic's still undefeated at home. So due to the Hawks beating the Knicks in the NBA Cup quarterfinals, the Magic will now play the Knicks at home on Sunday. So this will mean that the Magic will spend the remainder of the month of December at home. So you're looking at 7 games, about a 20-day homestand. So I think that you really take a look at that, 7-game stretch. and you kind of see how the Magic perform during that period. Obviously, it's going to be a tough, tall ask for the Magic. It doesn't matter how great they played against Milwaukee. It doesn't matter how great they played against Phoenix. Obviously, this team is, by committee or not, they may face some adversity where they're going to struggle, and that's okay. The Magic could also still compete. Like this thing can go any way. Just when you think that you're going to count the Magic out, they still find a way to make it through. And you can blame that on Jalen, you can blame that on Goga, you can blame that on Coach Mose, but they're figuring it out. And I think if they continue to figure it out, if the Magic go on a 2, 3, 4, 5 game winning streak, still protecting home, why would you rush Paolo Banchero back? Why not just wait a little bit longer? We've heard the talks and the communication about them kind of viewing these games throughout the season as kind of small series in itself to kind of mimic a playoff experience in the season. And this might just be another one of those things where, they may view it that way. And if they're winning their 7-game series, then, Paolo can wait a little bit longer. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's January. If I'm a betting man, I would bet January just because the Magic are known to not rush anybody back at all. And, if the synopsis, if they're saying that, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. In my opinion, I'm translating that as 8 to 9 weeks. That's just the way that the Magic have operated. So I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. But I don't know, man. I don't have that gut feeling that he's going to be returning in December.
And it's important to remember, like the Magic said, reevaluate in 4 to 6 weeks. They didn't say come back in 4
Correct.
to 6 weeks. And the same thing with France too. They said reevaluate in 4 weeks, but diagnosis is out indefinitely. So we don't know what that means. We don't know when we'll see them back. I've been researching oblique return times in baseball and stuff like that, where it's more common to see that injury, and it's months. So hopefully that's not the case. These guys are young guys. They have a lot of time here to kind of rest and heal over the next few weeks at home. So hopefully it'll be sooner than that. But I don't know what to make out of this. Hopefully it's before Christmas, but if not, just soon enough, man. Because right now we have a nice little cushion there. We're above 500 by 7 games, 3rd seed in the East. We're looking good. But again, with the tough schedule that we have, we could easily lose that lead, and all of a sudden we're back in the 6th, 7th spot, and things get a little bit crazy. Going back to France real quick, let me ask you, do you think France will still make the All-Star game this year, despite his absence here for the next month and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, he's had a platform where he was able to make a very, very strong case for himself. People who didn't know who Franz Wagner outside of Orlando now knows who he is, because he's going out there, he's torching all these teams on the road. Like he's just doing that. So I think that there's a strong possibility that, yeah, man, Franz, I'm gonna say it exactly how Coach Mo said it. All-star him, man, because he deserves it. I think he came as of last week, I think he was 2nd in scoring in the NBA Cup. He was 2nd in potential MVP, like for the Cup. Like this is somebody that went out there and he was putting on a show. Even the game that we got absolutely torched on national television, he still went out there and he performed, and he's somebody that definitely deserves that recognition. Luckily, we paid him as a non-All-Star and not as an All-Star. Luckily.
Yeah. I'll ask you one more question regarding France and the whole Paolo injury situation. Do you think when Paolo gets back, he will be able to carry the Magic the way that France was doing it? Meaning as far as not only leading the team in scoring, which he definitely will, but results-wise, winning-wise. Do you see Paolo kind of coming in and being that guy where he can carry the team without France for the next 2 or 3 weeks until he's back?
I think that's the interesting thing, man. I think that that's something that is going to be exciting to watch. Somebody can point at these games without Paolo, that some of these teams were hurting just as much as the Magic, weren't up to their highest potential. And you could point at some of these games as asterisks, but I think that this is a great opportunity to be able to compare the two. Like Paolo Banchero, are you able to do it by yourself alone without Franz? Maybe Franz isn't dropping 40, 50 points a game, but man, these 25 to 35 points, they're coming out with W's. So is Paolo really going to be able to carry the weight the same way that Franz did? I think so. Like I'm not gonna take that away from him. Like Paolo Banchero is that dude, but it's gonna be interesting. I think that he can, but what Franz did is not an easy ask at all.
I think the thing with Franz was that he was doing it in so many different ways, right? He was playmaking, one of the best defenders in the NBA.
Yep.
And on top of that, dropping 30, 35 points a night. So it's like he was doing it in every single way you can think of. And that led to wins also. So it's like, if Paolo comes back, averages 30, but the Magic go 1-6, it's like, wait, so it'll be fun to kind of compare and contrast the two when that happens. But yeah, man, the beauty of it is though that we have the whole month of December. So in about 20 days, like you mentioned, 7 games at home. So hopefully Franz, J.I., Gary Harris, Paolo, they're all in the training room. They're all here at home now. They can get healthy because, again, the schedule is crazy the next 7 games in December. And then into January, when we go back on the road, some tough games there as well. So it's very rare to find a team that can have 20 days at home during the season and a nice stretch of games, like 7 games at home, spaced out over 3 weeks. So take advantage of this, get a ton of practice time, and again, keep winning as many as you can, man, because I think teams like the Knicks, the Bucks, the Heat, they're going to pick it up as the season goes on, and we got to keep protecting that cushion as much as we can.
I don't want to spend too much time on the NBA trade deadline just because we still have some time before that. But obviously December 15th is the day that we have circled that we start to hear some of these things kind of speed up a little bit and gain some smoke. But there has been reports that the Magic have shown interest in Cam Johnson. We saw something online about Bovada having the Magic as the favorites to land De'Aaron Fox if Sacramento decided to move him. My question to you, I think the big question really would be, you haven't had a lot of time with your team this season where you can truly see where you're at, right? Paolo Banchero being out, missing 20-plus games. Now Franz Wagner being out, going to miss some time. Trade deadline comes around. Do the Magic stay put, or do they start looking at ways to better the Magic as we get towards closer and closer to the postseason? The Magic still dead last in three-point shooting, obviously an area where we have always struggled and are still continuing to struggle, even with some of the changes that we've made.
So I think Jeff Weltman said it. Like, if the Magic are winning, they're producing, they're in a good playoff position, and they kind of force his hand, he may be forced to make a move. So, again, I've said it before in the podcast, we love the guys that we have in the locker room. We love every single one of them. But I think if the Magic are top 3, top 4 in the East, comes late January, early February, and there's a shooter out there you can go and get, whether that is Cam Johnson, whether that is, I don't know, whoever, and they can help our three-point shooting, man, you have to make the move. I think it's been, again, you said it best, 8 years it's been that the Magic have been near the bottom of the league in three-point shooting. At some point, you got to say, hey, man, we need to get this guy some help. I get it. KCP was a move to help with shooting. Caleb Houston, drafting him, was about shooting. Jay Howard, about shooting. I understand all that. The problem is it's not working, or it's not working fast enough. So the question is the front office expecting this team to go into the second round of the playoffs and deeper? Or would they be okay if we make the playoffs and lose in the first round and really understand, like, hey, it's okay. We know our weakness now is shooting. We didn't get the development that we needed. Let's address it in the summer. That's the big question. Selfishly, as a Magic fan that wants to, just win as soon as possible by not trading the key players, the core players, but some pieces that we can move, I would love for us to make a move for a guy like Cam Johnson, just because he's a guy that has never been a locker room issue type of guy, shoots it, one of the best shooters in the NBA, plays solid defense. He fits into what we do from day one. The problem is, how do you make that work? He's a 4, kind of a big three. Would he play over JI? No. Can you put him as a small forward? Maybe. So that's where it gets interesting. And would he be okay coming off the bench for the Magic? So, but he's a guy that I think would fit in perfectly. And that's the kind of move I think the Magic would make. I don't see them going for the Aaron Fox, going for a superstar, Jimmy Butler, all these things going on in the NBA right now. That's not Orlando. They want a guy that can fit in the locker room and that can help them get better a little bit by addressing some of the weaknesses that they currently have. But superstar moves, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Maybe in the offseason, if that. But I would like to see us address the shooting a little bit, man, because heading into the playoffs, the last thing I want to see the Magic is go in the playoffs and shoot 25% again and lose games 90-72 because they couldn't hit three-pointers in the playoffs. So that's how I'm feeling. What about you?
Yeah, listen, I'm still not 100% sold that the Magic have made the decision that Jalen Suggs is going to be the point guard of the future. Like I have not gotten there. I do believe that him running the primary ball handler is a placeholder. Is it Darian Fox? Man, I appreciate you, Vegas, but nah, it's just not. I just don't see it happening, right? And if it did, like, what would it take, and what would the Magic be willing to give up? Like, Jalen Suggs is not on the board, so you would have to look at a player like Anthony Black and how much you believe in him and being able to be your future. And I think that we've seen flashes of Anthony Black. Can he take the same growth as a player like Jalen Suggs has had? Can he take it? We've already seen the growth that he's had from last season to this season. What does next season look like? Or what do you predict that his trajectory is going to be 2, 3, 4 years from now? He's so young. He's so agile. He's a team player. Does whatever you ask of him. There's passion on the defensive end. He's a big point guard. Like it would be so hard for anyone to give up a player like Anthony Black. But we've seen crazier things happen. We've seen some of these big name players be moved for players that you didn't expect. So the Magic have never been a team, especially under Jeff Weltman, to mortgage their future for the present. Like whatever decisions they make have to make sense 5-6 years down the line. And the decisions that they make now is even more important than ever, because you're not going to put your future in jeopardy with Paolo, with Franz. You're not going to waste that time, or you don't want anything to fall on the wayside. Like I take a look at a team like the Timberwolves, where they made the decision to move Karl-Anthony Towns, and now you're looking at Anthony Edwards even more so as the main guy, but they started to struggle a little bit. Now there's more weight on his shoulders, and they look like they're starting to crumble a bit. So you don't want to make any moves that's going to rock the boat too much, because what the Magic are doing is working. So a lot of the stuff that we're hearing, we don't put too much into it because it is a lot of noise. But I wouldn't be looking at a player like Cam Johnson as much as I would like it. He's somebody that could be a starter for you, and him playing that 3-4 might make it hard. Maybe yes, maybe no, but you kind of hold off for now, in my opinion.
I mean, he would be the perfect, if he would settle for a backup role, he would be the perfect 6-man backup 3. Because if you think about it, who we use there now is Gary Harris. So if you think about, like, you put him in there, J.I., Mo Wagner, Anthony Black off the bench, like that would be a solid bench. The problem is, what do you give up? It's got to be someone like Jett Howard plus Pigs and maybe a Gary Harris to make the salary work. I don't even know. I'm just throwing names out there. We can't trade Wendell, so people that want to get rid of Wendell, that's not going to work. We got to wait until the offseason at least. So yeah, it'll be tough. But the Brooklyn Nets are open for business, is what we're hearing. They have a few pieces that are interesting that the Magic could target. Dennis Schroeder is a guy that comes to mind that has the chemistry with the Wagner brothers, plays hard, solid scorer, shooter. That's another guy that I'm like, hey, would he make sense in Orlando? But then he's like a Cole Anthony. He's a backup point guard, small guard. Would he be, a solid player without the ball in his hands if we keep it in AB's hands? So things to keep an eye on. But to your point, we're maybe too early. December 15th is Sunday, so we have a few days here before things actually pick up. And then after that, the trade deadline is on February 6th. So about 2 months before things have to be decided for the Magic as far as what they do in the trade deadline.
Yep. So I'm sure that once we get closer and closer to that February 6th date, we'll start to hear a little bit more, especially for a team like the Magic. People are always trying to take our players or put us in weird trade scenarios. But Magic get a little bit of a break before their next game. Their next game is Sunday against the Knicks, followed by that following Thursday against OKC. That's a wrap for us today for today's episode. Appreciate everyone for listening. Show was presented by Bet Online. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
For all the latest Magic news and updates, visit OrlandoMagicHQ.com and follow us on Instagram at Orlando Magic HQ and on Twitter at OMagicHQ. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform.